Right, let's have a go at making some simple graphs based on some data that we've collected. The first thing you want to do is put your data in a way that's organized so you can see what's going on. I like to arrange my data like this. So you've got sample number down the side. So for example, in your experiment that you did with the ice cold water and threading the needle, this would be person 1, person 2, person 3. And then here is your results. So in the lab that you did, this would be warm temperature and this would be cold temperature. And this would be the number of times the needle was threaded. And obviously you didn't do it 90 times, I just made up some numbers. So the simplest way to make a graph is to just simply highlight the data that you want to make the graph from and click on one of these here, whichever one you want to do. Before I start drawing my graph, let's work out some summary data because graphs of summary data are often really useful. So I would like to work out the average of these two treatments. Treatment is the name we give to the independent variables. So I'm going to click on this button here, which means formula. Okay, so that gives you an equal sign. And then I'm going to double click on the function that I want on the formula. And I used average recently, so I'm just going to double click on there. But you can also search for it. So I'm going to double click average. And then it's highlighted it for me, but I could also, highlight it myself. All right. And then press return. And there you go, you've got an average. I could do the same here, or another handy trick in Excel is if you click and drag this little button here, it's going to bring the formula across. So there you'll see it's giving you the average of this column here. So these are our two averages. So let's just draw a bar plot, like a column plot, which is a bar plot upright, of just treatment 1 and treatment 2. I'm going to make a deliberate mistake so I can show you how you can make some edits. Okay, so I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm not going to include average, but I'm going to highlight all of it. Okay, normally you wouldn't highlight sample 1, 2, 3, 4 and things like that. And you'll see what happens when we do that. I'm going to highlight that and then I'm going to click column. And I want clustered column. Okay, so there's my graph. Let's make it a bit bigger. And you'll see that it's included sample as one of these treatments. I don't want that. It's treated it like a data series. So all you have to do is just click once on there and press delete and it'll get rid of it. And now you can see that our graph has switched to just include treatment 1 and treatment 2. And it's pretty good how it's set it up for you. You can go on chart layout, you can change things. Now treatment 1 and treatment 2, yeah, you don't really want to use those. Now what you can do is you can just type in here and it's going to automatically change that for you. So let's write room temperature and here can be cold. And there you go, it's updated for you. Let's say I want to change the colour of this. Double click on that data series and you'll get some options. But let's say I want to make it blue. There you go. I can get rid of shadows if it's got a shadow because Excel and Word and stuff, they love shadows. I don't like shadows. I can make a line around it. All those kind of things. Make sure you press OK. It's up to you whether you leave these on or not. And then you here got 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So, you can leave those if you want because that's like person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4. And it's nice, it's linking it together. All right, I'm going to get rid of the shadow on this because it's annoying me. So, get rid of it. Okay, let's make it, so many choices, let's make it purple. All right, great. Actually, I'm going to change this because something you want to think about is, well, blue we associate with cold, and this kind of colour and red and stuff we associate it with warm. So I'm going to change room temperature to an orange colour, and I'm going to change this to a blue to represent cool. There we go. Great, and they contrast really well together. Alright, now it's really important that you label your axes. It's like, what do these mean? Chart layout, axis titles. So horizontal, there you go. So that's going to be sample or whatever. It might be person. Think about something logical. And then I'm going to put on a vertical, and rotated is always good. And that's going to be number of times needle was threaded. It might be number of birds. There we go. That's better. Okay, those are some things you can do. You know, ideally I would capitalize those. I get a bit OCD about these kind of things, but just make it look presentable. Now, there are some things that you can do to change your data. If you go on charts here, you can change them. So, for example, you can change it to a line like that. I clicked on the data series. You have to do the same thing with the other one. You know, there's various things you can do. Change it to a cluster bar that way. Don't play with all these fancy super duper ones. I mean, like, what does that even mean? No. So I think column works best for what we're trying to do. That's a nice summary of the data. You can see before and after. So now let's make a graph out of the averages, just a bar chart. So what you're going to do is highlight this, and you're going to click on column, cluster column, and it's giving you the average here. I don't like chart titles, so I'm going to get rid of that. And that's not useful, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now what I do want to do is name these. And I also want to colour them. So this is room temperature here. So I'm going to double click on that. And I'm going to fill it in a reasonable colour. So let's make it red. Right, I want these to be labelled properly. Like 1 and 2 doesn't mean anything. So we want room temperature here and we want cold there. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go on select data. And here you'll see category x-axis labels. I'm going to click there, drag that like that. So I've selected that. I'm going to press OK. Yay! Okay, so it did it. A lot of these things you just have to kind of play around. Remember that you can always undo up here, save your work regularly as well. So I'm going to want to add my y-axis. This is going to be number of times the needle was threaded. So again, that's here in axis titles. You could add a legend if you wanted to. There you go, room temperature and cold, but you know, it's kind of redundant, you don't really need it. So yeah, those are just two really simple graphs. I recommend that you play around with things. Play around with the way you're writing your data as well. So the other way that you could write your data is that you could have sample 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, and then room temperature and then cold there. And it'll work the same way, you just need to highlight things slightly differently. One thing that drives me absolutely bonkers in Word is the text wrapping. In front of text is often the best. Then your picture or your chart is not going to make your font jump around everywhere, your text. That drives me absolutely balmy. And then when you copy and paste this in, make sure that these numbers are big enough and you can actually read it. You don't have teeny tiny little bits of writing, okay? Alright, if you've got any questions, send me an email, and also there are loads and loads of videos on YouTube about this.